My fiancé faked his death for 5 years and brought back a pregnant woman. Emma Wilson, our engagement can still go on as usual, but you have to help me take care of Ethan. She saved me when I fell off the cliff. We had sex during my amnesia. I can't abandon her. Don't worry, I know your family is bankrupt and needs the help of the Carter family. The position of the mistress of the Carter family is still yours. When Ethan gives birth to the child, I will definitely let her move out. I looked at him calmly, my heart unmoved. He didn't know that my family had already overcome the financial crisis and become the richest in South City. Moreover, a year ago, when I discovered the truth about his fake death, I had already agreed to marry his disabled elder brother. The wedding day is approaching soon. Perhaps because he noticed how cold my gaze was, Ethan Carter took the initiative to hug me. It was rare for him to yield. Emma Wilson, this child didn't come easily. Your grandfather's side is a renowned traditional Chinese medicine family, and you've made great achievements in the field. With your skills, you'll surely ensure the safe birth of this child, right? I smiled coldly. That has nothing to do with me. You and I ended our relationship long ago. Ethan Carter suddenly let go, his handsome brows furrowed deeply. Why are you angry with me? Am I wrong? I rushed to explain everything to you the moment I returned. I haven't even had time to comfort Leanne Ethan when she cried. You're a medical student, you should know that emotional instability in pregnant women is bad for the baby's health, right? That's enough, I interrupted. I'm marrying your brother. Your affairs have nothing to do with me anymore. You can hire a nanny. Unexpectedly, upon hearing that, Ethan Carter sneered, his expression full of disdain. My lame and useless brother? The one abandoned overseas years ago? If you want to make up a story, at least make it believable. Besides, everyone knows you love me. When you heard I was in trouble, you almost came running. How could you possibly like someone else? Seeing him lost in his delusions, I didn't want to waste another word. I turned around to leave, but the next second, everything blurred, and I was hoisted onto his shoulder. Along the way, he ignored my resistance and brought me back to his apartment from the Carter family estate. When the door opened, Lily Harper was sitting on the sofa with her pregnant belly, watching TV. Ethan Carter's expression softened as he quickly walked over and held her gently. Ethan, are you happy today? Lily Harper asked shyly, glancing at me with hesitation. Ethan, who hadn't said a single proper word to me since earlier, replied casually, Oh, this is the babysitter I hired for you. Lily smiled in relief and patted her belly. Perfect timing. The baby's hungry, isn't that right, little one? The man's gentle, low voice made Lily blush. I stood coldly at the door, thinking I had become numb, yet bitterness still seeped into my chest. Even at the peak of our love, Ethan Carter was never this gentle with me. I remembered once suggesting that he hold me more often. He pushed me away and snapped that I couldn't live without a man. He had severe misophobia. Now he rested Lily Harper's feet on his lap and gently massaged them. In a daze, I heard someone calling me. I snapped back to reality as Ethan Carter stood before me, his face grim. I told you to cook for Ethan. Didn't you hear me? I took a step back and refused firmly. I told you I have nothing to do with you anymore, and I won't cook for your lover.
Bang!
He slapped me hard, his voice icy. You ungrateful woman. Apologize to Ethan. I raised my hand to slap him back when Lily Harper, clutching her belly, stood between us. You're Lily's fiancé, right? I'm sorry, I don't want to ruin your relationship. With a sudden plop, she dropped to her knees, her tear-streaked face turned toward me. Hit me. I won't fight back, Ethan. Ethan Carter immediately helped her up and shouted at me. Get out. I didn't hesitate. I opened the door and walked away. Just as it closed behind me, I heard Lily sobbing and begging Ethan Carter to bring me back. Ethan Carter snorted coldly and said indifferently, You have no idea how much she adores me. Within 3 days, she'll definitely come back to apologize. On the way home, I received a call from Lucas Carter. Wife, I miss you so much. I couldn't help but smile. I miss you too. Thinking of his recently operated leg, I reminded him gently, You've just had surgery. You need to focus on recovery and follow the doctor's instructions. Lucas Carter listened patiently and, once I had finished speaking, responded softly, Don't worry, my love. I'll do exactly as you say. Just wait for me at home. Once I recover and return to China, we'll get married. After hanging up, I felt a wave of emotion. A kind act from a year ago had not only brought hope to Lucas Carter's recovery, but also to my own heart. Who would have thought the gloomy young man from a year ago would now become such a gentle and dependable person? 3 days later, I went to a bridal boutique to try on wedding dresses, not expecting to run into Ethan Carter and Lily Harper. Ethan was accompanying Lily, helping her browse each dress. Whenever she lingered on one, he asked the clerk to reserve it. Upon seeing me, Ethan gave me a look as if everything was going according to plan. You want to marry me so badly you had to come to the bridal shop? Unfortunately, I won't marry you before my child with Lily is born. I ignore him and simply ask the clerk to set aside the dress I liked. The veins on Ethan's forehead throbbed visibly, but he calmed down when he felt the familiar tug on his sleeve. Looking down, he saw Lily Harper gazing up at him with expectation. "Can I see my sister's wedding dress?" she asked. The clerk glanced at me, clearly uncomfortable. Everyone knew Ethan was the second son of the Carter family, and no one wanted to offend the likely future heir. But in my eyes, he was like a grasshopper in late autumn soon to lose his power. I didn't want unnecessary conflict that could disrupt Lucas's plans, so I nodded and let her see the dress. Lily touched it in amazement while Ethan watched her closely. Suddenly, Lily hissed and pulled her hand back. "What's wrong?" Ethan asked, alarmed, quickly grabbing her hand to check. Her finger was pricked, and a bead of blood appeared. "Don't blame my sister," she said tearfully. "I just accidentally touched a sharp decoration." But Ethan was furious. He not only tore the wedding dress apart, but also grabbed my arm. "Emma Wilson, you're so vicious. You knew there were sharp pieces on that dress. Why did you let Lily touch it? Apologize to her right now." I was stunned. She asked to see it and touched it herself. "How is that my fault?" I struggled. "Ethan Carter, let me go." "She was careless, and you're blaming me for it?" "She's pregnant. If you're so concerned, why didn't you check the dress yourself?" I resisted harder and he lost control, pushing me. At that moment, a heavy clothing rack behind him wobbled and fell toward Lily. "Ah! Help me," she screamed. Ethan's eyes widened in shock, and he kicked the rack, redirecting it. It crashed into me instead. I gasped in pain. Ethan instinctively took a step toward me. "You didn't." But Lily cried out, clutching her stomach. "Ew, my stomach hurts." Ethan immediately turned back and scooped her into his arms. "Don't be afraid, baby. We're going to the hospital." Before leaving, he threw a cruel remark over his shoulder. "Emma Wilson, this is your punishment for hurting Lily." My heart sank completely. Even if I were a stranger, someone would have at least called for help. I thought bitterly, because I loved him. In his eyes, I'm worth even less than a stranger. I went to the hospital my family invested in for a checkup. The doctor advised I stay a few days for observation. When Lucas called, he asked nervously why I was in the hospital. Not wanting him to worry, I told him I was just accompanying a friend. That night, we had our usual video call. I didn't notice the ward door open. It must have been the wind, I thought. But the next day, Ethan stormed into my room and threw a stack of photos in my face. Every photo showed me smiling during the video call with Lucas the night before, happy, relaxed, and at peace. Ethan's expression was dark. "Emma Wilson, who is this man? So this is how you afford this hospital? You found another guy behind my back? What? I wasn't enough for you." As he spoke, he began to undress and force me down onto the bed. I kicked at him. "Ethan Carter, are you insane? I told you there's nothing between us. This hospital belongs to my family. Of course, I can afford to stay here. You should also be careful when playing hard to get. Also, don't think I don't know that your family is bankrupt." He tore my clothes vigorously, and the lust in his eyes grew more and more intense. I closed my eyes in despair. At this moment, "Ew, what are you doing?" Ethan Carter immediately stopped and got out of bed. "Ethan, why are you here?" "Ew, I heard that this hospital is very good. I've been retching a lot recently. I'm sorry. I disturbed you." Tears kept falling from Lily Harper's pale face. Ethan Carter looked at me with a complicated expression and helped Lily Harper out. As soon as they walked out the door, They saw the doctor hurriedly walking towards my ward. Ethan Carter grabbed the doctor's arm. "What's wrong with Emma Wilson?" The doctor glanced at him up and down and said impatiently, "We are meeting our own eldest lady. The obstetrics and gynecology department is on the 10th floor."
What?
How is this possible? Lily Harper screamed, and even Ethan Carter was stunned. He didn't expect that what I said was true. The next moment, ecstasy surged on his face. Since the hospital is run by my family, then Lily Harper doesn't have to pay for medical examinations. I don't know who's been targeting the Carter family recently, which has left him exhausted. He can spare more time to investigate this matter. Thinking of this, he patted Lily Harper's arm soothingly and took her back to the ward. "Emma Wilson, I forgive you for having a secret meeting with a wild man just now. In addition, I have decided to fulfill our past engagement, and we will hold the wedding next week." The doctors were stunned by his words. A doctor couldn't help but say, "The girl next to you is still pregnant with your child. Our eldest lady has long disliked you. Don't you feel ashamed to say this?" "Shut up." Ethan Carter's face darkened with anger. "This is a matter between us. What does it have to do with you? Who said Emma Wilson doesn't like me anymore? If she doesn't like me, why is she still wearing the warm jade I gave her?" I subconsciously touched the warm jade on my neck. It turned out that this warm jade was given by him on my 18th birthday. All the wealthy families had given me many gifts, but Ethan Carter took advantage of our relationship and wanted to receive gifts with me. "Emma Wilson, we are a family. There is no need to care about these empty gifts." I thought he didn't give me any, but unexpectedly, it was mixed in with the gifts. This turned out to be the last gift he gave me. Looking at Lily Harper covered in jewels, I sneered, took off the warm jade, and threw it into the trash can in full view of everyone. "I'm sorry, I didn't know it was from you." Ethan Carter walked towards me in a rage, but was directly kicked out by the doctors. "Don't regret it." He roared loudly outside the ward and was silent after a while. I relaxed my mind and finally escaped. After being discharged from a hospital, I stayed at home and seldom went out for fear of running into that psychopathic couple. But no matter how careful I was still knocked unconscious when picking up a package. When I opened my eyes again, before I regained full consciousness, a knife was stuffed into my hand. "Sister, I know you hate me. You hate that I took away your fiancé. I was wrong. I was really wrong. Can you let me and the baby go?" Before I could refute, I was kicked out with great force. I lay on the ground in embarrassment, shaking with pain all over my body. Ethan Carter, who came over, held Lily Harper in his arms and kept comforting her. Lily Harper sobbed, looking devastated and scared.
Why?
"Why did you do this to me, you? I'm really scared. Just let me get rid of this child. It's not me." I tried to explain, but there was a bloody taste in my throat, and I couldn't even hear what I said. Ethan Carter's eyes were bloodshot. He walked over and grabbed my hair. "Emma Wilson, you really make me feel sick. This is what you mean by not liking me. Because of jealousy, you almost killed Ethan and one of them. Someone put her in the confinement room for me." My eyes suddenly widened, and I looked at him in disbelief. The confinement room of the Carter family is specially used to punish disobedient juniors. It is almost completely dark inside, and he clearly knows that I am extremely afraid of the dark. No matter how bad he was in the past, he never let me set foot in a completely dark environment. And now, he didn't even investigate and secretly locked me up in the Carter family's confinement room, the one that drove 2 or 3 people crazy. "Ethan Carter, why do you lock me up?" "Just because you still like me, I have the responsibility to teach you a lesson." My breath was choked, and I was so angry that I had a heart attack at his extremely shameless words. The bodyguard took the opportunity to hold me down and forcefully locked me in the confinement room. In the silent darkness, I hugged myself quietly. My cell phone was taken away by them. No one knew that I had disappeared, and it was impossible for anyone to save me. Time passed by every second, and I felt my sanity slowly collapsing. I twisted the flesh of my body fiercely and banged my head against the wall again and again. Just when my self-destructive emotions reached their peak, the door of the confinement room suddenly opened with a bang, and light shone in. "Emma Wilson, I'm sorry, I'm late. Hot tears dripped on my face as Lucas Carter, who was supposed to be recuperating abroad, appeared in front of me. He knelt down and held me in his arms, telling me over and over not to be afraid. After a long time, I felt some warmth in the corners of my eyes. I didn't cry when Ethan Carter brought the pregnant Lily Harper back. I didn't cry when they tore my wedding dress. I didn't cry when the heavy shelf fell on me. Even in the confinement room that I feared the most, I didn't shed a single tear. But at this moment, in his warm arms and in his hot tears, I burst into tears like a child who had suffered a great injustice. Before I fainted, I heard him whisper, "Everything is ready. No one will dare to bully you anymore." Lucas Carter carried me out. The assistant respectfully handed him the ring that symbolized the position of the head of the Carter family. He put on the ring, his eyes fixed. "Get ready well. I will propose to Emma Wilson in 3 days. The wedding will be on the first day of next month. Raise the budget to the highest level. Remember to send invitations to all major families. At that time, I will announce at the wedding that I will officially inherit the Carter family. As for Ethan Carter, drive him out of the Carter family and remove him from the family tree." It was 3 days later when Ethan Carter remembered me again. He had been too busy these days, constantly occupied. Lily Harper had been crying all day. Her father was seriously ill. He could not find any medical help anywhere, and someone was stepping up efforts to eat into the Carter family's assets. The Carter family was about to be lost, and he didn't even know who the other party was. The night was dark, and he sat on the balcony, lighting a cigarette. He suddenly thought of Emma Wilson, who was afraid of the dark. It should be fine, he comforted himself. As soon as Emma Wilson went in, he had someone send her a lamp. He still loved her. Even if she did such a wrong thing, he would be soft-hearted to her again and again. He would coax her well after she was released and let her grandfather treat his father. The Carter family was gone, so it was gone. He had tried his best. Besides, the Wilson family was so rich that he would not suffer for the rest of his life. Ethan Carter decided to pick Emma Wilson up tomorrow. When he returned to the bedroom, his face was obviously relaxed. When Lily Harper saw this, her heart skipped a beat, but she still forced a smile. "Lily Harper, are you going to pick up your sister home?" Ethan Carter nodded. "Yes, she has been in the confinement room for quite a while. I believe she has realized her mistakes." Ethan said, "After Emma Wilson comes back, try to avoid her. Don't hang around in front of her." Lily Harper's eyes flashed with jealousy. Isn't it just a confinement? It could change Ethan Carter's attitude towards that drastically? No, she had to set up another game. She must separate Ethan Carter and Emma Wilson. In the evening of the next day, Ethan Carter dressed up specially before coming to the confinement room. But the further he went down, the more frightened he was. Didn't he send people to guard this place? Why was there no one? When he reached the bottom, this fear reached its peak. He saw that the door of the confinement room had been violently broken open at some point, and there was no one inside. Ethan Carter's heart tightened, and he walked in quickly. "Emma Wilson, where are you?" He searched every corner and shouted several times, but only his own voice responded. At this moment, the phone rang. "Mr. C, the company is in a turbulent time now. You can't be so willful." Ethan Carter felt puzzled. He shouted loudly, "How can I be willful? I have been working diligently these days." "Then why did you buy a cruise ship and arrange a drone show to propose to Miss Emma?" "What?" Ethan Carter was startled suddenly, almost suspecting that there was something wrong with his ears. But the assistant repeated it again and even sent him a video. The video was shot hastily, but it could be vaguely recognized that a tall man with an unclear face knelt on one knee and proposed with a ring in hand. The person he proposed to was Emma Wilson. In the sky behind them, drones formed the words, "Young master of the Carter family proposed to Miss Emma." No wonder the assistant misunderstood. But how could this be possible? How could Emma Wilson accept someone else's proposal? Thinking of what she had said before and what he hadn't cared about, Ethan Carter's face looked very ugly. No, he must go and see. "Emma Wilson, you really passed this time." A grand proposal ended. Lucas Carter and I walked hand in hand by the river. Someone recognized us as the couple who had just gotten engaged, so they surrounded us and gave us a kiss. I blushed immediately and didn't dare to look up at Lucas Carter. The crowd was noisy, but I could only hear his low laughter. The next second, his gentle kiss fell, and cheers and screams broke out around us. Someone shouted loudly, "Forever, forever." But I didn't know if it was just my illusion. I heard a familiar voice penetrate the crowd, roaring, "Stop, stop." Ethan Carter broke through the crowd and pulled my arm in exasperation. Emma Wilson, you fickle woman, actually agreed to the proposal of a wild man behind my back. The crowd quieted down instantly. The change was so sudden that people's thoughts couldn't catch up. Suddenly, a plop broke the quiet atmosphere. Ethan Carter was kicked out. Lucas Carter protected me in his arms and looked at him coldly. Lucas Carter?
How could it be you?
Ethan Carter widened his eyes and stared at the scene in shock. Didn't they say Lucas Carter's legs would never recover in this life? Seeing his doubt, Lucas Carter snorted coldly and hugged me tighter. Thank you for faking your death for a woman that year. If it weren't for your departure, how could I have come into contact with such a good Emma Wilson? Thanks to her superb medical skills, my legs have been restored to hope. Facing Lucas Carter's ridicule, Ethan Carter seemed not to hear a word. Instead, he looked at me straight in the eyes, frustration in his voice. Emma Wilson, this is all fake, right? You like me so much, how could you choose someone else? I didn't expect him to still refuse to believe it now. I frowned and said coldly, "How long are you going to deceive yourself? I told you from the beginning that I had remarried. Why didn't you believe it? Do you think you are the center of the world and everyone has to flatter you? I tell you, from the time I knew you chose to fake your death a year ago to accompany Bai Yueguang, you were completely gone from my heart." After hearing what I said, Ethan Carter's face turned pale. He hadn't expected that I already knew the whole truth. The people watching the excitement around were in uproar, accusing him of being shameless. Ethan Carter couldn't stay any longer. He turned around and ran out of the crowd in embarrassment. But when he returned to the Carter family, he found it had changed a lot. No one would listen to him, and they even drove him out. "I am your young master. Are you going to rebel?" Ethan Carter slammed the door heavily. The servants inside rolled their eyes and said disdainfully, "The current Carter family belongs to Lucas Carter."
Who are you?
Oh, it can't be Ethan Carter, who was removed from the family tree. Ethan Carter returned to his apartment in despair. As soon as he entered, Lily Harper grabbed his sleeve and said coquettishly, "Lily Harper, can we go to the maternity and baby store to buy some baby products tomorrow?" A wave of anger surged suddenly in his heart. Ethan Carter frowned and shook off her hand, saying sharply, "Didn't you see that Emma Wilson didn't come back? Bye, just bye. Don't you know the Carter family is bankrupt?" Lily Harper was stunned and couldn't say a word for a long time. Ethan Carter scratched his hair irritably, picked up the coat he had just taken off, and walked out. No, he couldn't just sit there and wait to die. He believed Emma Wilson still had feelings for him. Words can deceive people, but physical actions cannot. It was obvious that a while ago, Emma Wilson almost stabbed Lily Harper out of jealousy. Thinking of this, his emotions gradually calmed down, and he regained his previous confidence. The next day was sunny, and Lucas Carter took me to choose new wedding dresses. These dresses were beautiful. I couldn't let go of any piece. Lucas Carter put his arm around my waist and whispered in my ear, "These are all yours. Let's have a wedding in China, and then go abroad. I want to leave proof of my love for you all over the world, so you won't deny it one day." I poked his chest. "If you treat me well, I will always admit it." After trying on the dresses, Lucas Carter went to drive, and I waited for him in the bridal shop. I looked up at the paintings when suddenly someone hugged me from behind. "Emma Wilson, you really want to drive me crazy." The hot breath sprayed on my ears. I elbowed Ethan Carter hard, and he staggered. I turned around and glared at him. "Scumbag, stay away from me." He covered his chest, and when he raised his eyes, there was already moisture in them. "Emma Wilson, admit it, you still love me. If you didn't love me, why did you hurt Lily Harper out of jealousy? Let's not hurt each other, okay? You cancel the wedding with Lucas Carter. I'll kick Lily Harper out of the Carter family, and we start over, okay?" I was so angry at his shamelessness and arrogance that I laughed. It just so happened that I got a surveillance camera a while ago. Although the distance was quite far, I could still see Lily Harper's behavior clearly. I turned on my phone and put the surveillance video in front of him. "You can see for yourself." Ethan Carter stared at the footage intently. As expected, he saw me being dragged into the room unconscious. Those people said something to Lily Harper and left. She took out her phone and typed, quietly waiting for me to wake up. I had just woken up when Lily Harper stuffed the knife into my hand, then pretended to be a victim, stepping back in fear. After watching the video, Ethan Carter's eyes were dazed. He didn't even feel the bleeding from his palms. I spoke tiredly. Ethan Carter, the thing I regret most in my life is that I ever liked you. I used to want to treat you well with all my heart, but what did I get in return? It was you who faked your death for 5 years to be with Bai Yueguang. It was you who allowed the pregnant Bai Yueguang to bully me in every way. It was you who turned the tables on me at a critical moment. It was you who locked me up in the confinement room, even though you knew I was afraid of the dark. Ask yourself, who would want a scumbag like me? Ethan Carter was at a loss, but he still explained to me one by one. It was his fault for faking his death. He didn't know Lily Harper bullied me. And regarding the arrogance, at that time Lily Harper was pregnant, and he was really afraid she would have an accident. As for the confinement room, he clearly asked someone to send me a lamp. My tone turned gloomy. Really? But I never received it. Do you know how devastated I was in the endless darkness? I even thought it would be better if you were really dead back then. Ethan Carter took a few steps back, as if shocked by the murderous aura in my words. I kept approaching him, wanting to stab him a few more times. At that moment, Lucas Carter, who had gone to drive, came back. Wife, don't be angry, don't be angry. Anger is harmful to your health. What's the point of saying this to such a person? He just wants you back because he has nothing now. Lucas Carter rolled up his sleeves, stretched his hands and feet, picked up Ethan Carter, and walked out. Good brother, let me teach you some life principles. Half an hour later, Lucas Carter came back humming a little tune. There was a bruise on the corner of his mouth, but his expression was very excited. I touched him with heartache. Does it hurt? Lucas Carter grabbed my wrist and put his face close to mine. Honey, kiss me and it won't hurt. Even though I knew he was joking, I kissed him gently. Through the glass window, Ethan Carter happened to see this heartbreaking scene. He was having difficulty breathing, and his body was covered with bruises, but I didn't even give him a look. He watched us drive away. Suddenly, I thought of the day I was hit by the shelf. He left with Lily Harper in the same way. Things change, but now he doesn't even have the energy to call the hospital. My wedding date with Lucas Carter in China is in 10 days. During this period, Lucas Carter's overseas development has been huge, and his influence has completely infiltrated the Carter family. Under my superb acupuncture, his legs have completely recovered. Everything is off to a good start. On this day, I finally had some free time, so I saw a push notification on my phone. The familiar name made me click on it subconsciously. There was a video in the link. When I opened it, Lily Harper's face was clearly visible. She looked much thinner, and her lower abdomen had become flat again. She lay on the hospital bed, sobbing in front of the camera. Please speak up for me. The father of my child, Ethan Carter, is so cruel that he locked me in a small dark room for 3 days, abused me, and almost killed me. I had a miscarriage and can no longer have children. Please help me. The comments all blamed Ethan Carter. Some people even stripped away all his identity information. It didn't matter if they did. Lily Harper's past was inevitably revealed. She had seduced Ethan Carter into having sex with her, even though she knew he had a fiancé. She staged and framed me for killing her. For a while, the counterattack of the deceived netizens was huge. She was scolded by everyone. Some even recognized that Lily Harper had cheated a wealthy businessman out of his money. When the businessman heard this, he secretly had someone take her away from the hospital. Now she is nowhere to be found. The wicked will be punished by their own wickedness. I sighed inwardly and threw myself into preparations for the wedding. I thought I would never see Ethan Carter again, but one day, when I returned from a dinner with friends, he was standing under a tree next to the villa. The wind was cold, and snow fell all over his head and face. When I walked to the door of my house, he suddenly rushed out and knelt in front of me, slapping himself madly.
Emma Wilson, I'm sorry.
I was wrong. I was wrong from the beginning. I have avenged you. I did what happened to Lily Harper. I don't expect you to dissolve your marriage with Lucas Carter, but can you give me a small chance? I really can't live without you. Looking at the fire of hope in his eyes, I poured a basin of cold water to extinguish it.
Impossible.
I can never forgive this matter.
You're just panicking now.
When you calm down, you will find that you don't really love me, and you don't really know that you were wrong. It is difficult to change a person's nature. He is a very bad person. In the 4 years when I didn't know the truth, I lived in great pain, but he enjoyed himself outside with peace of mind. If he had any conscience, he wouldn't have done such a thing. Seeing I was so determined, Ethan Carter shed tears of regret. Unfortunately, everything was too late. Since then, I have never seen Ethan Carter again. The wedding date came soon. Lucas Carter and I were busy and nervous. The wedding was very grand, and all the major families were present. Everyone knew that this was the Carter family's wedding, the wedding of the Lord and the eldest daughter of the Wilson family. Sir, are you willing to marry the lady next to you as your wife? Lucas Carter looked at me solemnly and firmly. I do. Miss, are you willing to marry the gentleman next to you as your husband? He smiled gently. I do. At the wedding, Lucas Carter also officially announced that he would inherit the Carter family. From then on, the Carter family welcomed its most outstanding heir. Many scenes from the past flashed before my eyes. I was surprised to find that the happiest time for me was the year I spent with Lucas Carter. At the beginning, he was gloomy and tyrannical, not letting anyone get close to me. I was ashamed when I accidentally broke into his room. He told me to get out, but I was attracted by the silver needle on his bedside. He was so fierce to me that, in a rage, I picked up the silver needle and stabbed it into his leg. But I didn't expect it to really work. We agreed to cooperate at the beginning, but slowly, I don't know who was moved first. I don't know where the feelings came from, but they grew deeper and deeper. Amid the cheers of the crowd, we kissed each other firmly, and from then on, we accompanied each other for the rest of our lives. In the middle of the night, I heard my phone vibrate in a daze and was about to pick it up to look when Lucas Carter hugged me back to bed. His voice was very hoarse. Wife, do you still have strength? Why don't we? Shut up and go to sleep. I covered his mouth, my face flushed, my heart beating fast, and I quickly closed my eyes. He chuckled, and it sounded particularly nice. It was not until the next afternoon when I got up that I found it was a text message sent by Ethan Carter. Emma Wilson, I'm really sorry, I also hate myself now. I was about to block and delete it when I heard the door open. Lucas Carter came over, hugged me, and rubbed me in his arms. Emma Wilson, Ethan Carter is dead. I was stunned. He continued. He committed suicide at the seaside. I heard the sea is where you fell in love. I touched his hair. It has nothing to do with me. Lucas Carter nodded with satisfaction. I looked at the 2 ugly snowmen outside the floor-to-ceiling window and thought to myself, this is what deserves my attention.